Welcome back to another video on my channel, and today I'll be in the shed talking out loud while I'm working on some stuff, and I have two videos. The first video I just rumble on, dumping my mind from my mind dump into speech. Well, both videos, the two videos that I'm going to share and post. So I hope you enjoy. Let's get it. Alright, I'm in my shed. Got my GoPro / knockoff recording what I'm doing. Alright. I think I'm going to start with this. Get everything out. What exactly am I aggravated about? Here's the thing. I'm not. I'm just doing this. What's wrong with doing something like this? And then I can use a hammer. A hammer. I think I took my hammer and left it in actual hammer. And go back in and go to the mud room. Pick up my hammer. Alright, there's my hammer. Alright. Now I need a place where I can beat it. Wonder if I can do that. that tapped it out. Now I can take this and lift it up. And grab it on this side. That's alright. Don't worry about the background noise. That's just life. It is what it is. I'm doing my thing. And all is good. Yeah. That is not cooperating. So, there we go. Got it out. I think I'll just dump that right there. Okay. All right. This right here. The question is what exactly is what I'm doing fake? The question arises is how am I faking what I'm doing right now? Explain that to me. How's working in my shed, talking to my GoPro / recording device, talking out loud for a recording, and explaining myself as I do something. How's that fake? This is a question, it's an open-ended fact-finding question, is that I'm recording this right now, so when I watch it, my future self, I can say, hey, okay, well, obviously I was doing that, recording it. Review it later, right? And I can edit it out, all the stuff, maybe like all the noises out from my own voice, from the environment. Uh-oh. Put that back in right there. So I got those. Let's get these two over here. Now, here's an interesting thing, is that everything that you've watched, heard, and listened to, does that define who or what you are? I would say a part of that is true. It depends on how you interact and use said information that you've absorbed. And does it affect you? Like, say for instance, you listen to something that on a video or something, and then you try to mimic it, right? But it's just, is it monkey see, monkey do, or is it, do people have the capacity actually, hold on, well, is these actions actually really real, or are they being just, presented in a fashion that is what they call entertainment, right? Is it just entertainment, or is it what? How would you differentiate that? Obviously, the entertainment business, which is including song, dance, literature, plays like in the old days, right? Where you go to a auditorium, an outside auditorium, where it's sunken down, and then you have that stagehands creating the scene, and the presenters are creating a story about something that they may have written down on a parchment that they created out of their imagination, right? So then they enact that play to their audience as a form of entertainment. Let's say, for instance, they didn't know what a comet was, right? So they say, okay, well, this comet is some celestial body that's flying through the sky. Not knowing it was just a regular space object that's formed out of ice, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen. And as it approaches the sun, it creates a tail away from the solar wind, creating a tail for itself. But to them, they don't know any of this. So how do you explain that? So then your imagination flies in, and you try to make sense of things, and you come up with a romanticized version of it, because then you have to take what you know from the world around you. Well, how does this explain? Well, I have a torch that I use during the night, and it shows light for myself. And during the night, I can see this as a light source. So, therefore, it's some kind of illumination in the night sky. Then you have all the rhymes and rhythms and twinkle twinkle little star, how I wonder what you are. And then then it gets passed down from generation to generation. Is just that, okay, well, that the wondering of what stars are, how they are, what they're doing. So, and then you have, okay, well, I want to know what the hell that is. So you create a combustion engine that can propel yourself out of explosion, an explosive rocket. Okay. Well, now you have an explosive rocket that you can propel yourself. Or then you have hot air balloons that like, okay, well, some guy momentarily had a aha moment where he was hanging his sized cheesecloth over a fire, and it started rising above that fire, and he got like, oh well, this is an aha moment. It was where I can take that and create a fire and create lift. I'm like, aha, I'm brilliant. So he creates a hot air balloon. And then he's able to soar from the sky, and all of a sudden, kind of like, okay, well, now how am I going to get down? Like, well, you didn't think about that. So he probably like, okay, well, how am I going to get down now? Like, okay, well, reduce the fire. So then he falls into the ocean. And then does he have the skills to swim back to shore, right? Or like trial and error, right? So now hot air balloons. Fascination of hot air balloons, right? The first form of flight. And where did the fireworks come from, right? And someone didn't have any concept of fireworks, and they saw fireworks in the sky. And the first time they saw it, they were like, what the heck is all this? I've never seen something like that before. And then their imagination just goes wild. They're like, well, that looks like a freaking, some type of animal in the sky. And you're like, okay, well, it was like, well, these cats knew what they were doing, because they were creating a charged fireworks into a shape of a animal, and they were presenting it to their audience as a celebration of a festivity using fireworks. But if a foreign person saw that, not knowing what the hell a firework was, and then they go back and report that to their people, like, these cats are using some kind of magic. But it's just fireworks. And they have no concept of, because they didn't actually talk to the people in that area. So then they get the ass thinking it's some kind of negative thing, because they didn't properly introduce themselves to those other culture. Then some kind of like weird shit in their minds, they were like, oh, that's they're evil, because they were shooting fireworks and creating animal figures in the sky. And then they're angry and frustrated because they're like, okay, well, yeah, it's just bottle rockets, fireworks. But they didn't know that. So they're like, well, then we're going to take this technology and use it against our enemies. Unbarbaric. Anyways, that's an interesting thought form going through history. You're like, okay, well, because a different society had a different point of view, and they just assumed, without knowing all the information about what they were seeing and how they were seeing it, and they just took it upon themselves to deem it as something weird or crazy without knowing the full context of what they were seeing. Which is, you're like, okay, well then obviously that society would know if they have advanced that enough to have a similar type of technology to defend themselves. So when these cats come to infiltrate, they know what's going on, and they get repelled back. And then those cats over there on the other side get the ass, and well, we can't do anything against these guys because they have a higher technology than we do. So because of the negative sentiment from the jump of not understanding that interaction of what they saw, created a cascade effect, and that group's or that culture's mind from the jump. So then you have this situation where their generations are fighting against the other generations, but they don't know why they started fighting in the first place, because they forgot they were just seeing fireworks. Which, in essence, is basically like a misunderstanding from the jump. So that's just like, okay, well that's kind of crazy. It's like, how in the world would you stop that, other than being calm, cool, and collected, and both sides come together and say, hey, why are we fighting now? But anyways, that's my 2 cents worth.